Hello and good morning. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Well, we thought that we would jump on today. I am joined by the lovely Rachel Barratt from HR Elite. Hello, Rachel.
Hello, hello, hi Sam.
Hi. So we were just having a private discussion actually about, Boris's announcement later on today, what we think is going to happen, what we think is going to say, how it's going to affect businesses and teams. And probably the biggest impact maybe that's coming, because we just don't know, but maybe is that there's going to be an element of remote working again. So we were just saying about the impact of this, because, right now, this is the biggest and worst thing we think that can happen for businesses when people have just got used to going back into the office. We've just got used to our little home treats again. We've got used to grabbing that lovely takeaway coffee and that lovely favourite salad or sandwich. And now we're going to have to go back to the contents of our own fridge, maybe. But also, on a more important note, what Rachel was just sharing was that the biggest feedback that she had was that people are really struggling now with motivation and productivity in remote working. And that was the biggest drive and the biggest positive that businesses were saying, is that now at least they've got their team back, they can face-to-face them, they can be motivating and inspiring and get that energy going again. So Rachel, if we are back in remote working as of next week, then what are your biggest tips that you could tell us for conquering that energy, that motivation, that high productivity team again? What can we do?
Well, I think when we went into lockdown before and everyone was asked to work from home who could work from home, we were unprepared. It was unexpected. It was thrown upon us all of a sudden. Yeah. We've done it now. We have done it. And for some, it worked well. And for others, it didn't work so well. But I think we've been through that experience, and for those that it worked well, brilliant, we've learned a lot from that. For where it didn't work so well, then we've probably learned a lot from that as well. Yeah. I do feel that we are in a slightly different situation now, because many people have been working from home for quite a few months, and some haven't even returned to the workplace yet. Others are just starting to return, and as you say, they're really, really looking forward to it. I've been reading a lot lately that there was quite a novelty, I think, when we went into lockdown and everybody had to work from home who could work from home, and that is starting to wear off now. There's a lot out there at the moment saying about how much people are looking forward to getting back to work, and for those who have, they're really enjoying being amongst their colleagues. As you say, just popping out and getting a nice posh coffee is really great, buying a nice sandwich. And just being around people and interacting with people. Yeah. So I think the biggest worry really is that if we do have to go back to working from home, I think motivation and mental health could be quite a big concern. So managers really need to be quite aware of this. They need to ensure that they are getting the best out of their staff. I think another factor is that we have been hit hard by what's been going on over the last 6 months. We're certainly aware as a HR company that there's many companies that have had to make redundancies. So we could have a number of companies out there that are actually working with a reduced workforce because of what's happened over recent months. And now they're having to send their staff back home again. So more than ever, they have to get the best performance out of staff. I think we should also be very mindful that working from home, this is around to stay now, even if there is a combination of home working and office working. And I know that we spoke to a number of clients before who were like, well, this is only going to be for a few weeks. So if our staff are working from home and they're not doing it very well, we'll just muddle through, because it will go back to normal at some point. We can get them back into the office at some point. And I think we know that that isn't the case. So we need to be realistic and, really consider that we need to make home working effective. There's many, many tools you can use for making sure that your staff are working to their optimum performance from home. We've actually got a home working pack that contains 26 different documents. So that ranges from policies and procedures, template policies and procedures, home working agreement, so that it's very, very clear what the terms of the home working arrangement is. Yeah. Guidelines for managers, how they can effectively manage their staff working from home, how to conduct remote meetings effectively, right the way through to how to motivate your staff and get the best performance out of them. We've got a performance management guide in there as well. As I say, I think it's absolutely key that managers are making sure that they're using these tools, these techniques to get the best performance out of their staff whilst they're at home.
Because they haven't had to, have they, Rachel? They haven't. I mean, managers and leaders are obviously, you know, or hopefully experienced in leading people, but they've never had to pull upon these tough skills before, have they? They're really having to dig deep now and find skills that, like I say, they've never used before, and how to really motivate the team whilst they're working from home.
Yeah,
I think your home pack sounds brilliant, and I would encourage everybody, and you can tell us in a minute how they can get hold of one of those. And I think, you know, for me, I'm imagining that the last lockdown, they conquered some of the systems and processes and managed to get everything working logistically. But this time around, I think you're right. This is more about the softer skills are now needed, the softer side of leading people, which is so hard to do remotely. You know, systems and processes are easy to do remotely. Getting working are easy, but to really pull upon them softer skills of leadership and motivation, inspiring, supporting, guiding, and really knowing when someone's suffering, you know, what's there for them in that pack? How can they utilize the pack for that?
Yeah, well, as I say, we've got motivational questionnaires, exercises that they conduct with their staff. There's also a kind of a guide on how a manager can understand whether their staff is motivated, identifying if they're not motivated, and if they aren't, what they can do to help increase that motivation. You know, a lot of the techniques that need to be used at home are actually taking place in the workplace, but sometimes we don't get those right, even in the workplace. So managing an individual's performance is really, really key. But doing it from home or doing it remotely when you're both sitting in your houses, you know, and you're away from one another, does make it even more difficult. So we've managed to adapt typical performance management processes and techniques to be conducted remotely, and when there's that bit of distance between you know, the two individuals. And I think you're absolutely right. Managers haven't had to do this before. Managers, most people have worked in an office or you know, or within the company premises. And then all of a sudden, and you know, managers have been used to that, all of a sudden managers are now having to know how to manage their staff from home. And it's tricky because you have got that distance between you. And I think there is an element of, oh, well, they'll be back in the office in a couple of days, I'll deal with it then. That's not good for business. You know, you need that consistency. And as I say, it can reduce motivation, and then that can be brought back into the workplace if people are coming back from work, back into work. So it's really, really key and important that managers don't just assume it's okay just to leave it until people are back, and that they are managing their staff effectively at home. As I say, we've got 26 different documents in the home working pack that covers a range of different things that managers can use to make sure they're getting the best performance out of their staff, so that the business can continue to perform to the standards and the level that they want to, so that the managers aren't getting stressed out that their staff aren't working effectively, but also so the staff are working from home and they're actually feeling quite motivated, quite happy. There's a lot around home working where people can suffer from mental health issues. They can become quite depressed or anxious. They do become detached and they can become quite isolated. So there's a lot there that can obviously help the managers to make sure that they're getting the best out of their staff from this home working arrangement that is possibly going to be put on us again.
Yeah, sounds brilliant. I think also, I mean, last time round we saw, you know, some really creative leaders, didn't we, that came up with all sorts of weird and wonderful ways of how to, you know, keep engaged with their team and how to, you know, keep everything a little bit more light-hearted. And, you know, I think we all got a little bit Zoom quizzed out by the end, but I mean, I saw some real sparks of genius when it came to thinking outside the box and being creative remotely. And I hope that we see that sort of creativity again, because I just think that we are a little bit tired of remote working now. And like I say, we were all just getting used to and enjoying those little comforts again that we love about being out and about. Some of us do, I know I do. everybody that knows me knows I'm a bit of a coffee snob. So those that go and have a really lovely coffee is one of my big things, and I really appreciate that. So this is what I love about HR Elite, because HR companies are known for legislation, processes, but what I love about you guys is that you're really, really inspired and passionate about performance, about improving and retaining and developing talented people. And I know that you're going to be working really hard with your clients on how to maintain that talent and inspire that talent, even if we do go back into some sort of remote working.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, we do what I think most people would assume a HR consultancy does, which is give advice, give employment advice, employment documents, contracts of employment, handbooks, and so on. But what we are most passionate about is getting the best performance out of staff. That's the work that we love the most. And as I've said, businesses have been hit hard over the last 6 months, and with a reduced workforce, that these businesses still have to deliver the same services. That I'm sure they want to deliver them to the same standards. The competition may be more rife now, so that needs to be brought to the forefront of people's minds. And so even more so, even though it was the right thing to do anyway, but even more so now, these companies need to make sure that, one, they're treating their staff in the right way so that the staff are happy, but also so they are making sure they're getting maximum performance out of the individuals. They've just got to do it. We can't take any more hits, and that's what we can help clients with. We've developed a new service whilst we were in lockdown as well, called Maximising People Potential. It's got so many facets to it. It's really, really interesting. We can work with clients on many, many different areas of HR. So we look at recruitment and selection processes, vision and values, induction processes. The real biggie is continuous performance management. So really modernising the way that we look at how we get the best performance out of our staff, how we develop them, how they change the culture because of a continuous performance improvement culture. And then we review and evaluate everything. But we have taken it a step further, because we're also looking at personality testing, leadership and management training. We've got employee development activities, the traditional time management, delegation, assertiveness, and so on. Yep. A new function is millennial management. So we're getting a lot of the younger people coming into the workforce now, that I know they're certainly different from me, and the kind of when I came into the workforce. So we're looking at how we can get the best out of those staff and what they actually want from the workplace as well. So lots and lots of different HR activities that we're working on now, and that we're working with a number of clients already to ensure that they're actually maximising their staff's performance. Ultimately, that's going to achieve greater business success for that particular company, and that's really what we're loving doing at the moment.
And something else that you were sharing with me a minute ago that you're doing, which I think is absolutely brilliant, is you're now going to be running a mastermind group for HR managers, or leaders that deal with HR. So, I think now everybody knows I'm a big advocate of mastermind anyway, but now is going to be a really fundamental time for supporting those leaders as well. So, being in a room with other leaders that may also, not have had to deal with this before, and getting new ideas from them on how to motivate and inspire their team at home. I just think that's going to be incredible value for employers right now as well.
Well, we found that there's often somebody who takes the HR lead in a company. That could be the business owner themselves. Quite often it's an office manager, or it could be someone who's actually training. They might be doing their HR qualification, and then they might be called a HR officer or something like that. Being in HR can be quite lonely at times. We obviously have a number of clients who will call us for HR advice. But I know when I came through my learning as a HR practitioner, I used to work in the NHS. So we had a big HR department. There were 5 HR managers. There were lots of other HR people within the team. And being able to tap into, just to call up one of my HR manager colleagues, talk about a case, you know, just bounce ideas off of them was really, really important. In small businesses, you don't have that support network. So we have set up a HR masterclass. So it is focused on HR for people who obviously do take the lead in HR in their particular businesses, where they can come together once a month. We will have topics that we will discuss. They can bring their issues, their staffing problems. It might be that something's gone really, really well that they want to share with the group. And we can really lean on one another. Obviously, I'll be there as the HR expert to just to make sure that things are obviously going in the right direction.
Yeah.
So you have that kind of monthly support, but then there is a designated HR consultant for these individuals to tap into advice as and when they need it for the duration of the course programme. So we're really excited about that.
Yeah, that's great. I think, you know, once again, that just sets you apart from all the other HR companies that, you know, you really, really want to become part of that business and supporting their team and getting the best out of every individual. You know, I think that's brilliant. So I suppose, you know, what we're saying, we don't know what's going to happen today. We don't know what the announcement's going to be, but I know for sure whatever happens, you'll have your clients back like you always have, and always will, and support them through whatever we are faced with when it comes to our teams and getting the best of them. So I've really enjoyed chatting with you today, Rachel. Thank you for giving us a little insight into, you know, we're not all lost. I think that's the message, isn't it? I think there's going to be an awful lot of frustration and negativity around tonight's announcement. And I think what we wanted to say today was, it doesn't have to be that way. We can use this as a real positive. We can use this as another opportunity to fill skills gaps, you know, to really upskill and to get engaged with our team. So, you know, don't be too panicked. Whatever happens, we'll get through it, all of us together.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thanks, Rachel. I'll see you again soon. Take care. Thanks again.
Thanks for having me. Bye.
Bye-bye.